What's up, guys? Welcome to the edit video for the Santuario de Nuestra, Señora de Guadalupe edit. Quite the mouthful. We're going to be taking this image right here, which is completely raw and unedited, and turning it into this final result here. Now, this is a super fun edit because it's not every day you get to edit the interior of a insanely awesome church. We are going to be doing a focus stack, a possible exposure blend, and a ton of luminosity masks in this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into the edit. Okay, so we got the three images that I want to blend together here, all in Lightroom, ready to go. And I want to do a focus stack on these. I checked the actual files here, and I thought I had an exposure blend to compensate for these blown out lights here, but I actually don't. So we're just gonna be doing a focus stack with these three. So let's get back to those and go ahead and do our basic preliminary edits on them. So let's pull the exposure up here. See, there's actually a lot going on in this church. It doesn't seem like it at first glance. We'll decrease the contrast here because we really want to make sure this is accentuated how we want it. Highlights, we're gonna pull these down a decent amount here. Just like that. We don't want these windows to be blown out. Shadows, good. Whites, we'll pull those up a bit. Blacks, we'll pull those up a bit to assist with those shadows. And in terms of the temperature, I think it's pretty good right now. Actually, let's keep it on this cooler side. I really like the idea of these blue pillars and these orange lights here. It's a nice contrast. Keep it at that. ISO, it probably won't be an issue, but we're getting to the point where it might be, so I might crank it a bit, especially because I underexposed this pretty heavily in the image here. So it couldn't hurt to have a little bit of noise reduction in there. And in terms of chromatic aberration, we'll get that checked and enable lens profile. Let's see here. Trying to decide. I think I honestly like it with this one where it's enabled, which I know is a first for me. I usually don't enable that, but I think I'm going to keep it on this one. All right, so now that we have this one ready, let's go ahead and do develop settings here, copy settings, copy all of those, and paste it to these two bad boys. And now we got three of a kind here. So let's select all of them and edit in Photoshop, open as layers. All right, so we got these three layers loaded up here. Let's go ahead and select all of them and go to Edit Auto Align here and click OK. All right, now let's go to Edit Auto Blend here. All right, so we got the focus stack here. Let's go ahead and name this top one Focus Stack. And we'll drop all these into a folder and name it Focus Stack and probably never look at them again. So we'll hit enter there. Now let's go ahead and get this cropped equally. So let's drag this in a little bit. Notice how this point right here is hitting the edge of this here. So we want to drag it so that it's lined up perfectly there. So now we have those edges perfectly cropped. Hit OK there. And after this, we'll go ahead and straighten the image to make sure it's nice and straight here because it looks a little bit off, just ever so slightly. So we'll use this straighten tool here. Load. Okay, there we go. And we're going to zoom in, and we'll use this baseline down here as a good horizon line to edit. Oh, we have a person there too. We got to get that person out. I didn't even notice her. So go like that. Now we got a straight edge there. Hit OK on that. And now let's get these people out. I wonder if I think there might be another person over here if I remember correctly. Let's see. Load, 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 load. Okay. So we'll do this, the cleanup layer. And let's just go ahead and start brushing this chick out. Get out of here. See what the spot healing does. Oh, now she's a ghost. All right, so that tool isn't gonna work. So let's use just the clone and just start cloning from, whoops, cloning from up here. Clone this part of the chair right in her face. Just like that. And we could get this and put it on this side over here. And that's looking pretty good. Cool. All right, so that chick's removed. Is there anyone over here? Nope. So we had one chick who is now gone. Gone with the wind. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start doing our actual work to this image, which I really want to emphasize these. So let's start by creating a color mask to pull out those. And you can use the color range select tool up here to do this, but I'm gonna use the luminosity mask here just because it's a little bit easier for me. So I'm gonna select that color, hit OK. And now we're only gonna pull out those colors here, like so. So let's do a hue saturation adjustment, which is this output right here. And then crank those oranges up a bit because we want them to glow like none other. I love that. Maybe make them a bit more like a darker glow too, more reddish, orangish. There we go. So those look awesome. Okay. Now let's get these blues kicking a little bit to contrast that. So we'll create another color layer. Get this blue here. Let's see if how this selects these blues. Obviously it's selecting those windows. Let's see what happens. You know, we'll just hit OK. It looks kind of like a crummy mask, but you never know. Sometimes it surprises you. Yeah, see, that's starting to pull out those blues a decent amount there. So we can crank that a bit. Maybe I'll get rid of the mask in this area up here. So we'll get a black paint brush selected and paint out the part of the mask here because we don't want these looking too crazy up there. But I do like the blues in all of these areas. Maybe not these paintings, that might be a bit much, but these pillars, yes, for sure. Maybe even just like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and what else should we do to this? Let's do a vignette because I feel like the vignette is calling me, and this is a perfect vignette kind of image because you really want that eye like pulled in hard. So let's make it even smaller, honestly. That's a little bit big of a vignette. Let's go like that and be real dirty with this. So we'll create a curves adjustment. Invert, or whoa, not color burn, multiply. Invert. And now we'll go to blur, Gaussian blur, 420 pixels, and decrease the opacity mega amounts. All right. So now I got a nice vignette working along those edges there. What else do we need to do? Next, we need to fix the dark points. So we got a pretty dark spots here. Let's just create an overall darks mask to start to get rid of some of these areas that are starting to get very dark here. So we'll create like a darks 6. Yeah, let's go with that. And you can create this manually if you watch the luminosity masks video, or if you have a panel, you can do it much easier. So we'll hit the brightness contrast mask for this. And now let's just reduce the contrast and pull up the brightness a little bit of some of those darker corners there. You know what? I think this mask is a little too, this vignette is a little too much. I'm gonna go ahead and delete it and start from the scratch. I thought I wanted a really small vignette, but I think I need a bigger one because I don't want that much vignette. So we're just gonna completely redo this vignette here. So invert that, multiply, view, not view, what am I doing? Blur and Gaussian blur. So we'll redo this vignette here and hopefully this will look a little better. Okay, that's about more where I wanted it. I didn't really want it that deep before. Okay, so we got that kicking. We got this kicking. Let's see how, yeah, so that's making it a bit, decrease that a bit. All right, so now let's work on the dark spots of the image here. So we have some dark spots up here, but we also want to get rid of those darker ones down here because they're further from the eye and that'll help add depth. So let's create a new layer here and make it a brightness contrast. And let's go ahead and decrease the contrast there, increase the brightness a tad, invert this layer, white brush, and now just start painting in where all these dark spots are down here to just draw the eye in a less dark manner. So let's see what that did. Perfect. And there we go. Let's decrease that a tiny bit. So now we're getting a bit more depth to this image here. What else? Let's create a good old-fashioned lights 1 luminosity mask. So we'll do lights 1, and we'll just go to a curves adjustment here. See what this madness does to the image. And we'll pop this up right here. And this should add a bit more crispiness to the image. Just a bit more contrast. So see, there we go. Now we're brightening it up, but only in these more mid-tone sections here. All right, what else can we do to this madness? Maybe let's do a general hue saturation. Generally brighten things up a bit. Just a little bit, not too much. Very subtle. Now let's see if I can get rid of these little lights down here, because those are a little bit annoying to me. Let's get out the clone stamp tool. If this will load. Zoom in down here. And let's just sample right next to this here. Whoa, that does not look good there. Let's try a healing brush. There we go. Perfect. So now we don't have those distracting lights down there. Maybe get rid of this distraction too while we're at it. Feed that corner up. All right, I think we're starting to look pretty good here. One thing I might be able to do is make a little bit of a gradient here to pull the eye in even more. We'll try this. It may or may not work. We'll see what happens. So brightness contrast layer. Decrease the brightness here. And now what we're going to do is click this gradient button and draw a gradient in the mask here. Whoops, that's upside down. So like that. Wait, so I have the brightness down, so that means the brightness down is going to be more this way. So if I decrease this, yeah. So I was right the original time. So I do want this to be like this. Yeah. There we go. So notice how now that's pulling the eye a little bit in on that aisle there a bit more. Can even do it a bit more like that. All right. That's looking good. What else? Now let's go ahead and maybe dodge a bit. So maybe dodge some of these pulls here to just pull out that detail a bit more. So let's create a dodge layer here. And we'll just do this manually. We'll do it very, very lightly. Let's select this color here. Oh, so it's kind of like a yellow, but yeah, we kind of want it to just be more white. Be like that. Let's see what this does. Yeah, see, now we're making those pulls a bit more vibrant here. So let's pop those up a bit more. Maybe, what else would look good here? Maybe get this a little bit brighter here. These pulls here. Maybe like this, very subtly. Go down these lines here like that. Do the same thing over here. When you do this very lightly, you don't really need to be super precise with it, especially because I have a feathered brush here. Like that. Brush this in. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. See now how much more powerful those pulls look? Look at that. Boom, money. Maybe we decrease it to like 10 there. All right. Did I get this pull? I might not have. Maybe I'll get these things too to add a little significance to those banners up there. We're just dodging our little hearts out here. Maybe get this banner lit up a bit. This one's already pretty lit up because I think the light's coming from like this direction. So that's looking good. What else? I think we can go in with our Orton effect now. Let's go ahead, Control-Shift-Alt-E. This is a very, very sharp image here. Notice how everything is very tack sharp, especially because I focus stacked it. So I think this Orton effect is going to do wonders to make this look a bit more user-friendly, as I call it. Convert to Smart Object. Go up to Filter here. Blur, Gaussian blur. 42, not 420. Image, adjustments, brightness, contrast, high brightness, mediocre contrast. Hit OK. And let's see what this does. Nice. I think the brightness is a little too high. I definitely cranked it to like 90 something. So we're going to redo that brightness. Yeah, let's tone that down like that. There we go. There. So now it's not nearly as sharp, looks a bit dreamier. And I think that's a very welcoming, trippy looking church we got going on here. What else could I do? I think we're about done. I might go ahead and see if I could do this vignette over the top one more time. So I hit Control-J to duplicate it and maybe just very subtly throw this over the top. Yeah, just to pull the eye in just slightly more. Yeah, there we go. I think we are done with this image. Let's zoom in. And see what we got going here. God, I love this temple here. It looks so sick. Or shrine, or whatever you call it. I don't like these blown out lights, but I think at a certain point, like there's not really anything you could do about those. And we still have detail in the stained glass, so I think that's the most important part here. That single light in the center there is not really too much of an issue. You know what? Let's actually go ahead and make these pillars a bit more gold as well. I feel like we need to pull this more into this image here.
I couldn't put my finger on it, but I think that's what this image is missing. So let's go ahead and create another color mask here. Let's select this goldish yellow color here. If I zoom in, I might be able to get a bit more precisely. Yeah, okay, let's go there. Yeah, and now, see what we got here. Wait for this mask to load. Come on. Whoa. Okay. There we go. Let's zoom out here. I don't know why my computer is being so slow all of a sudden. Very weird. Okay. Let's pull this up. Perfect. It's a bit more precise here. All right. Now let's brush out these parts of the image because we don't need this anymore. We already worked on this earlier. So undo that. Let's get this side done. You know what? Let's undo this. Let's just do these. I actually want these branches in the mask just for now. Let's see what happens. I know for a fact I don't want these things. So let's hit brightness, contrast, or not brightness, hue/saturation here. Wait for this to load. And now we're just gonna crank up that saturation in these gold pillars over here. And we're gonna see what this looks like. So let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. See that? Now we're getting like a whole new image. It was just hiding. Just like that. And what I'm gonna actually do here is I think I'm gonna delete this Orton effect or hide it. Yeah, no, okay. We're gonna backpedal a few steps here. When we're gonna undo this Orton effect here, we're also gonna redo this hue/saturation adjustment here because that saturation mask took the Orton effect into account and it's making it look a little bit blurry. So like I said, some of these edits, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So we gotta redo this again. So let's select this again. Get this all lined up here. I think that's why it was lagging so much before because it was confused by that blur. There we go. Pull that up. All right. Now we can paint this out here. Paint this out here. We don't want that. And now let's pull up the hue/saturation. So excited. And crank this. Bing, 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 bing. Let's go, go, go. All right. There we have it. Now we're getting that golden glow, which is what I wanted. So that's freaking awesome. Look at that. It's like a whole new image now. So we got that brilliant old gold glow there. Do we want to change the hue of it at all? We could change it a little bit more to match this color here. All right. Now let's do another hue/saturation, but just decrease the hue/saturation of everything. It's a little intense right now. There we go. Now let's go ahead and apply that Orton effect. So Control-Shift-Alt-E. Do this all over again. Orton effect, convert to smart object, and filter, blur, Gaussian blur, 42 megapixels, yada, 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 image adjustments, brightness, contrast, up the brightness, up the contrast. We're okay there. Now decrease that opacity. Perfect. So now we're getting this real surreal church effect here. And let's go ahead and we already cranked this up like twice. I don't think we need to do it again, but I'm trying to decide if this is way too saturated. It might be. I definitely don't like oversaturating my images like that. You know, it's honestly not that bad. Let's keep it. It's a church. It's supposed to be colorful and happy. So I think we are where we want to be with this. And I think this is it. I think this is finally the image that I want. Let's zoom in here. See what this looks like. And yeah, I love the color going on here. So let's go ahead and call it a day on this image. I think. I keep changing my mind. I think these are too black right here, so I'm going to decrease the brightness of those spots just a little bit. Not that bright. Down the contrast a little bit. Just a cute tiny bit. Control I. Let's brush that out a little bit. Like that. And then just teeny tiny bit. There we go. So now it's not nearly as bright. Okay, now this image is done. So yeah, it's done, for real.
Whew, that was a fun edit. Let's go ahead and hop into the next video here.